We've got another question that's here. I'm going to go ahead and read it to you guys. Have any of you dealt with an ex-spouse that is an addict who is in recovery, has 6 months clean now, and is asking for 50-50 custody? Even his mom is supporting it. I am so not ready to sign anything that would give him 50-50 custody of our 3 young children when less than a year ago he was smoking crack. Does anyone have any advice on how to do a realistic parenting schedule with a recovering addict? Man, this one hits home. This is huge because when children are involved, it's a completely different dynamic, especially when the trust has been lost at all costs. So if I'm assuming you have 100% custody right now, so you know I'm not an attorney, nor do I play one on TV. I don't have any legal background, so anything I give you is for educational purposes only. Definitely want you to check with an attorney. Having said that, I'm going to assume you have 100% custody right now, and so in a relationship, we can only move as far as the person who has the least amount of comfort to go. And so what that means is if you're not comfortable yet of giving that 50-50 custody, and again, I don't know legally what you can and can't do, so you want to look into that, I would sit down with the individual. And really, here's the biggest thing. Most of us just want to be heard and understood. And if I am stuck on the emotion of there's no way in hell Mama Bear's giving up the kids, that will create a block in trying to find a workable solution. Because when we go to court, I'll tell you honestly, nobody wins. So if I'm able to come from a place in my heart knowing this is the father of the children, and the kids love him, he loves them, but there's been so much damage, I don't have that trust level yet, then I would ask yourself some questions. What would you need to happen in order to have that level of trust? Once we start getting clear on some of these answers, then we can actually move forward. And so I would encourage you, as difficult as it might be, and I don't know all the background, but I can only speak what I would do in a situation like this. I would sit down with my ex and say, it is so important that my kids get to know you and spend time with you, and you get to be a part of this co-parenting thing the way you want to and the way I want to. I'm still working through some of the trust issues, and what I've found is by being honest and authentic, the other person feels heard, but then we can address that. And so for me, I would say, and I want to be honest, I'm so proud of the work you've done. 6 months sober is huge, and we're so very proud. There's still this part of me, and I don't want to hold it against you. I'm kind of feeling and experiencing these emotions as we speak. But there's a part of me that is so scared that something could happen that we're not even aware of. There could be a relapse or something that we don't even plan. And so I want your help so we can collectively come up with something that works for both while we're still working on this trust. And so from what I saw as the mom is supporting it, one thing that we've done before in the past, we've suggested where there's actually visits that are monitored, not by the court, but if you trust the mother-in-law or the ex-mother-in-law, that might be something where if everyone's open to it, bringing her in and saying, hey, as we build this trust back up, because we do want to make sure dad's part of this entire process, are you comfortable of being there for part of it, or how can we do a communication in case something does happen, the children don't suffer? So I'm hoping that answered the question. It's not a black and white issue. There's so much gray area, and the amount of pain from all the past stuff, and that's difficult because if we're bringing in all the past stuff, it tends to just completely tank any growth or progress. But at the same time, you can't be like, oh, no problem, let's give it another shot. This is our 30th try, but something's different. So the answer short term is to sit down, really be authentic and genuine, try to think from your heart. This may sound weird unless you've seen some of the other videos, but up here we tend to think logically, and when we're up here it's very difficult. When we're in here we can typically solve problems. So actually breathing through your heart, coming from a place of your heart of how do we find a win-win. And so maybe it's trying not 50-50 custody, but the kids will go over for a few hours a day and then we start easing into it. I would also ask, hey, not that I need to hear anything that you're working through, but I would be comfortable if I started a friendship with your sponsor, or at least a mother to kid relationship with sponsor. So we have someone that mutually we can go to that knows you, that starts to know me for advice. Some people say it's a conflict of interest, but again, when I'm coming from my heart and the other person is heard because I hear their needs, I feel heard because they're hearing me and feeling me, typically we can start working on that. But ultimately the question would be, if you're not comfortable, what would it take for you to get to that comfort level? So if dad's really doing well, he can be back in the kids' 50-50 custody and have open type of communication. I'm hoping that helps. Thanks.